Okay, we're talking about states today and how sometimes you don't even know that you're in an undesirable state, right? And actually, I'm going to relate it to the belief cycle that I talked about last time. I wasn't quite done with that little messy chart, okay? So I'm going to get this back out again. So literally, I just wanted to show you that it's going to be hopefully a quick video. I don't even have any notes, so hopefully it's going to be fast. So I wanted to explain how, can you see this? Let's see. Oh yeah, kind of. So I wanted to show you that so I wanted to pull this back out and say, and just remind you that, okay, so there was these thoughts, right, that you thought, these series of thoughts that could have been minor thoughts. Now, sometimes I just wanted to mention too, that sometimes these thoughts can come from your just bad beliefs, from past beliefs, or they can come from, you know, your bad self-concept. That's why I always promote working on self-concept, and that's what literally changed my life. When I went from law of attraction to law of assumption, that's literally the one thing I realized was forming a lot of my beliefs, and I want to connect the two for you guys. So your self-concept can be forming your bad beliefs, okay? And that's why it's so important to work on your self-concept. And this literally, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for like 15 years, but I did start with law of attraction, right? But as soon as I found law of assumption, which was like 10 years ago, I realized how much my self-concept was affecting my solid beliefs. So in saying that, look at this. So if you have a poor self-concept, this is why you would have these original thoughts. And then obviously, like, let's say your self-concept is like not chosen, or feeling like, you know, that everyone's going to cheat, or, you know, or like relationships never work out for me, right? If you have a core self-concept that says relationships don't work out, and I'm always alone, or I'm always left alone, or I'm abandoned, right? Anything that's from your childhood that tells you you're abandoned, or tells you you're not good enough for people to love you, or whatever, will be a self-concept of not being loved, right? Or being left all the time, right? So if you have that in your system, like that's a core belief, you will have thoughts like this, okay? And so sometimes these are not just random, right? Sometimes they're related to your self-concept. Now, sometimes they are just random. Like, you literally just think a random thought, like, oh, I wonder if there's anyone attractive there, right? So sometimes they are random, but a lot of times they're not random, okay? So let me relate this to belief states, okay? So a feeling state, when you get in this rejection state here, sorry, make sure you see this, okay? When you get into a rejection, like, feeling, this is sort of a stronger thing, and it's you know, a couple times of thinking this, a couple or more than a couple, you know, you thought this for a little while. This, I wanted to just make clear that this is actually a feeling state, which is the same as a state of consciousness, right? So once you are in a feeling state, like state of rejection, not chosen, feeling you know, not like, oh, this, you know, this guy's not choosing me or whatever. And this obviously relates to everything. I'm just using a specific person as an example. But as soon as you get to this state, all they can do, listen to this closely, all they can do is reflect. All they can do is reflect your state, right? Because there's tons of different states, right? And once you find yourself in a state, all they can do is reflect that. And sometimes we get there on accident, right? That's why in this video I'm going to title like Get Out of Purgatory or whatever, because we get there on accident sometimes and we don't even realize we're there, right? Like when I recreated my SP, and I'm going to talk about this in a video, I've got a few videos planned, okay? And one of them is me and what I did to fully recreate my SP. I'm also going to talk about emotional regulation. It's really important. But I needed to get this video out because I had this already drawn, okay? And I wanted to explain about the states and how once you're in a state, you sometimes don't even know you're there, but they have no, oh gosh, she's gonna start, okay? You don't even know you're there, but you will not be able to receive anything else from the outer world besides what reflects that state, okay? I'm trying to make this as clear as possible because this is a key that will help you understand this greatly, okay? So So it's really important to pay attention to what is reinforcing. What reinforcements are you getting to put you in a state, right? Because as soon as you're in a state, the only thing that's possible is you keep getting a reflection of that state. Okay, does that make sense? I hope this really makes sense, because this is going to be a missing piece for a lot of you guys. Okay, because when I figured this out, I had drastic changes, because I was realizing, oh, I'm in this state, right? And I was, like I was saying, when I recreated my SP, I didn't realize. I thought, oh, I worked on a lot of stuff, I'm healed, you know, I found the law of assumption, I'm healed, you know. This was like, I don't know, 7 years ago, but I thought like, oh, I got this now. But I did not realize that I was in this rejection state. And again, I when I was in this rejection state, nothing I could do on the outer world could make our relationship good, because I was in a state of rejection. So he would continuously not call me, he would continuously not show up for me, right? He would be MIA, and he was also saying, I want to date others, kind of thing, right? I didn't get him committing to me because I was in a state of rejection. So you cannot receive anything besides what your state is. Your state has a set of actions, beliefs, all kinds of, you know, the state contains it all, basically. I've heard, you know, I think you've heard that before, like your state is everything, right? And like the I am thing that I draw on the whiteboard, it's like once you're in a state, they can only reflect that state back. So it's very important to pay attention to the state. Okay, now how do you get out of it, right? Because the title is how to get out of purgatory. Okay, so you can pay attention to your thoughts. So the best thing you can do, okay, number one, the best thing you can do is catch it early, right? Catch it early before it turns into a feeling state, right? But if you're already in a state, then that's not going to work, right? Because you're already there. But the best thing you can do, and that's why I teach on here, like, be aware. Like, awareness is your best friend. If you can be aware of what's going on, like as soon as you have negative feelings, like thoughts will they carry feelings with them, right? So as soon as you're thinking something you don't like, you're not going to feel that good, right? You're going to have a feeling of offness. It's not going to feel, sorry, I'm looking over here because I'm trying to make sure this is still in the, so I'm not really looking at you guys, but I'm making sure this is still in the frame. Okay, so you're not going to feel great, okay? And it's good to pay attention to when you're having off thoughts. You're not going to feel great. You know, your thoughts are going to be not in line with your end goal, right? These are not in line with your end goal of being with that person, right? So the best thing you can do is pay attention to that at the beginning, right? And then the second best thing you can do, which is what we do when we're already in a state, is we literally just change our rejection state by focusing on self-concept and and so if you know it's from your self-concept, which a lot of times it is, then, you know, working on I am chosen, all the affirmations that support not being rejected, right, will help greatly. And then you can also work on your thoughts that just come up randomly, right? So it's going to be self-concept, and then also checking in with yourself, having a mental diet, and really paying attention to what thoughts you're just having at random, right? Because sometimes this can be random and it's not always related to your self-concept, right? But it can be, right? So it could be both as well, right? We don't always know if it's just a regular, just random thought, or if it's really deep self-concept stuff. But it's never a bad idea to work on your self-concept, especially if you get into a feeling state that is one of rejection. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that the feeling that you get after like repetitive stuff happening or whatever is usually, it can be called a state. Not usually, it is referred to as a state, right? And so once you're in the state, you can only get reflections of that state. Okay, and that's really important, and that should help you understand why when you show up and you think everything's all good, that you can still get rejected, because you're in a state. And sometimes you don't realize it unless you're paying close attention, right? So it's really about really paying close attention to the fact that you are in a state, and nothing you can do or say, or, you know, it's almost like nothing you can manipulate in the 3D world will ever get you out of the state, right? You've got to work on your deep core issues, work on your, you know, concept of yourself, your self-concept, and your beliefs, right? So even if you have little tiny beliefs floating around, you got to work on those and spot them, and, you know, take them down with new beliefs, right? Write out the list of things or new thoughts, right? So yeah, hopefully that helped. The other thing is to realize that this is 3D stuff, right? So you would feel this way if you're focused on the 3D. So that's why it's really good to catch it before it turns into a state, right? Because this is something that would happen in the 3D, like an action, right? So just something to point out, that this is a 3D reaction to this. So it's good to catch this at this stage, right? If you see, oh look, he's saying this stuff that's undesirable, oh what random thoughts was I having, or what self-concept is at play, right? It could be either, but it's good to be able to catch it at this stage, right? An earlier stage before you're actually in a state. Okay, then the last thing I was going to say, so hopefully that helps you be able to recognize a state and also get yourself out of it as soon as you recognize it, right? Because it's really key. You don't want to keep getting things that reflect your state, right? Because it's going to be undesirable, especially if you realize you're in an undesirable state. So you want to change it immediately, right? Like try to change it immediately anyway, right? So yeah, working on your self-concept, being aware of all your thoughts during the day, making sure all your thoughts are in line with what your end goal is, not even letting little errant thoughts go unchecked, right? Because they can turn into a feeling state, right? It could just be like a random, just thinking about, oh, there's other girls or whatever, you got to be able to catch that so it doesn't change into a feeling state. Okay. The last thing I wanted to say, which might be a little controversial, but, I'm still doing my sister's still going to pick someone for the free session too. She's just away. She's in New York right now. So when she comes back, she's going to choose who gets it. And you guys can just leave an emoji down underneath. So it's just liking the video and then leaving some sort of comment. But if you don't have a comment to leave, just leave an emoji, and she's gonna go on my YouTube studios where all the comments are and scroll down from like the last couple videos or whatever whenever she gets back. I think she's back in a couple of days. So when she gets back, she's gonna pick whoever gets a free session. So keep do the like and then comment too on this video. I also have a unique perspective, and so it's like helping me help others when you do that, right? Because then more people can see my video as well. So, okay, the last thing I'm going to say about this is a little controversial, but what I recommend, like if people, I got a hair mask in, so my hair is really greasy right now. It's like a grease mask. Okay, the last thing I want to say is this. Sorry, I was like just trying to put up my hair. So the thing is when you cannot, like, let's say you're having trouble moving states. Like, let's say you feel stuck, like you're definitely feel like you're in purgatory, right? This is something that's a little controversial, but I tell people to do this because it actually works. So if there is something that you're holding back saying, I'm not kidding. If there's like something that somebody did to you, if you feel like you're not standing up for yourself, if you feel like, oh, this is a really bad thing that this guy did, and you really need to say, and it really feels strong within you that you need to say something, and maybe you've already tried revision, maybe you've already tried like letting it go and moving into a new state, I'm telling you, this is gonna sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know what I'm talking about. I've done this for a long time, and also clients, I've given them the suggestion to do this, and this works. So if there is something that is bothering you to the point where you cannot revise it, do all the normal things that we talk about, right? Like forget about it, know that that's an old you, like let it go, be in the the state, just keep choosing the new you. If you cannot do that, and then I recommend saying something, and not being rude, mean, nasty, nothing like that, just saying something. And this, I promise you, if you cannot, like you've done all the other things and you cannot get this off your mind, saying something will help you get into the new state. And this is a missing piece for a lot of people, because they think, oh, I'm a creator now, I don't pay attention to 3D. The 3D is not, it's old news. It is old news. That's all true. It's based on your old thoughts. It's not relevant now. It only tells you what your old beliefs are, if you need to, work on those. But it is old news. But if something is continuously on your mind, sometimes the only way to get over it and get into a new state is to say something. I'm not kidding, because I have done this. I have kept myself in purgatory
many times, you know, well, not many, but a few times where I was stuck and I could not get out because I was refusing to interact with the 3D, right? So there are some cases where you just need to say your piece, and you can say it in a respectful manner. You don't have to yell, you can say it, and then it literally will propel you into the new state. And it's all about what you do afterwards. You want to have the intention of saying your piece and then moving into the new state, right? And I'm telling you, because we are on a physical plane, this does work. You just need to say your piece, and then you can actually, it literally lets you move into your new state. It is magical, powerful, it's everything, right? So if you're holding back, if you feel like you need to say something, someone was disrespectful, you can't let go of an event that happened, say it. Just say it. Get it off your chest, because this is about you feeling good, right? As soon as you feel good, you can get into a new feeling state, okay? It's such a powerful key that a lot of people, they ignore. They think they shouldn't be interacting with the 3D. It's fine. Just say your piece, and then with the intention of moving into the new state, right? You don't want to say your piece and then get stuck there. No, say your piece with the intention of, this is the past. I said my piece. Now I'm going into the future. Now I'm going into my new state, right? And it's a way to propel you into the new state and choose to be the new you, right? And I always say this in all, you know, every video about states. Just keep choosing the new state. You don't have to be perfect. If you go back to the old state, if a little bit of your old you comes up, just know you are reprogramming your mind right now, and it's important just to stick with the reprogramming. And you've had years and years of the old programming, so don't get thrown off. Just keep reminding yourself of the new you, the new state that you're choosing. Keep your mental diet, aligning your beliefs with the new state, and you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. You will get your desire. You just need to keep reminding yourself. And we are humans. We're gonna falter. It's about wavering less, right? I always talk about that in all my videos, okay? So hopefully this is really helpful. Please like if you love Neville and changing your life and my unique perspective on all of this, and just, you know, this information. Please stick around. I'd love to have you. Okay, bye from the little one. Bye guys.